What's it going to be then, eh? There was me, that is Alex, and my three droogs, that is Pete, Georgie and Dim, Dim being really dim. And we sat in the Corova Milk Bar making up our razodocs what to do with the evening, a flip, dark, chill winter bastard, though dry. The Corova Milk Bar was a Milk Plus mesto, and you may, oh my brothers, have forgotten what these mestos were like, things changing so scorry these days, and everybody very quick to forget, newspapers not being read much neither. Well, what they sold there was milk plus something else. They had no licence for selling liquor, but there was no law yet against prodding some of the new veskies which they used to put into the old Moloko, so you could peat it with Velocet or Synthmesk or Drencrom or one or two other vesties, which would give you a nice quiet horror show 15 minutes admiring Bog and all his holy angels and saints in your left shoe with lights bursting all over your mosque. Or you could peat milk with knives in it, as we used to say, and this would sharpen you up and make you ready for a bit of dirty 20-1. And that was what we were peating this evening I'm starting off the story with. Our pockets were full of deng, so there was no real need from the point of view of crasting any more pretty Polly to toll-chock some old vec in an alley and viddy him swim in his blood while we counted the takings and divided by 4. Nor to do the ultra-violent on some shivering, starry, grey-haired petitza in a shop and go smecking off with the till's guts. But, as they say, money isn't everything. The 4 of us were dressed in the height of fashion, which in those days was a pair of black, very tight tights with the old jelly mould, as we called it, fitting on the crutch underneath the tights, this being to protect and also a sort of design you could viddy clear enough in a certain light so that I had one in the shape of a spider, Pete had a rooker, a hand that is, Georgie had a very fancy one of a flower, and poor old Dim had a very hound and horny one of a clown's litso, face that is, Dim not ever having much of an idea of things and being, beyond all shadow of a doubting Thomas, the dimmest of we 4. Then we wore waisty jackets without lapels but with these very big built-up shoulders, plechos we called them, which were a kind of a mockery of having real shoulders like that. Then, my brothers, we had these off-white cravats which looked like whipped-up kartoffel or spud with a sort of design made on it with a fork. We wore our hair not too long, and we had flip horror show boots for kicking. What's it gonna be then, eh? There were 3 devotchkas sitting at the counter all together, but there were 4 of us malchicks, and it was usually like 1 for all and all for one. These sharps were dressed in the height of fashion too, with purple and green and orange wigs on their gullivers, each one not costing less than 3 or 4 weeks of those sharps' wages, I should reckon, and make-up to match, rainbows round the glazzies, that is, and the rot painted very wide. Then they had long black very straight dresses, and on the groody part of them they had little badges of like silver with different malchicks' names on them, Joe and Mike and such like. These were supposed to be the names of different malchicks they'd spatted with before they were 14. They kept looking our way, and I nearly felt like saying the 3 of us, out of the corner of my rot that is, should go off for a bit of pole and leave poor old Dim behind, because it would be just a matter of cuppeting Dim a demi-litre of white, but this time with a dollop of Synthmesk in it, but that wouldn't really have been playing like the game. Dim was very, very ugly and like his name, but he was a horror show filthy fighter and very handy with the boot. What's it gonna be then, eh? The Chelovek sitting next to me, there being this long, big, plushy seat that ran round 3 walls, was well away with his glasses glazed and sort of burbling Slovos like Aristotle wishy-washy works outing cyclamen Get forficulate smartish. He was in the land all right, well away, in orbit, and I knew what it was like, having tried it like everyone else had done, but at this time I'd got to thinking it was a cowardly sort of a vesh, oh my brothers. You'd lay there after you'd drunk the old Moloko, and then you got the messal that everything all round you was sort of in the past. You could vidi it all right, all of it, very clear. Tables, the stereo, the lights, the sharps and the malchicks, but it was like some vesh that used to be there, but was not there, not no more. And you were sort of hypnotised by your boot or shoe or a fingernail, as it might be, and at the same time you were sort of picked up by the old scruff and shook like it might be a cat. You got shook and shook till there was nothing left. You lost your name and your body and yourself, and you just didn't care. And you waited till your boot or your fingernail got yellow, then yellower and yellower all the time. Then the lights started cracking like atomics, and the boot or fingernail, or as it might be a bit of dirt on your trouser bottom, turned into a big, big, big misto, bigger than the whole world, and you were just going to get introduced to old Bog or God when it was all over.